If you come on down here and get in front of this lane. All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what we're going to talk to you here is really the era of the Marine Corps that goes from really World War II up through the Korean War. So the look and the weapons and the technology will see us from the 1940s to the 1950s. But, you know, as was alluded to in the last station, really the Marine Corps going into World War II was still configured and very much equipped with the weapons, the uniforms, the equipment, and even organization and structure that really saw it through the interwar period. The uniform, for example, everyone knows and wears khakis. Well, you're plebes now, but you're going to wear khakis this summer. And you probably see some of the upperclassmen wearing that khaki uniform. That was actually the field uniform for the Marine Corps through much of the interwar period. What we're going to find getting into World War II is there is no better inspirer for change, not only with equipment and weaponry, uniforming and organization, than a war. So, for example, where the Marine Corps is about 20,000 strong when Germany invades Poland in 1939, the Marine Corps will ramp up to an organization that is largest than it's ever been, 495,000 with 6 assault divisions. But in order to get that far, though, things had to change. Some of the interwar and earlier structure didn't serve the Marine Corps maybe as effectively as some of the new technology coming online in the Pacific battles against the Japanese. So, for example, the uniform that I'm wearing, the pattern 1941 herringbone twill utility uniform, worn by myself and Mr. Frez over here, these are the uniforms that were essentially a working uniform that, because they were very hard-wearing and durable, were found to be a good combat uniform. So pretty much the look of the Marine from the time of Guadalcanal in about August 1942 through and after the Korean War will pretty much look about the same. There were some designed, some variants of this uniform to include a camouflage version using this duck hunter pattern that you see on the helmet cover. And again, if you can see a picture of a Marine in World War II, he's usually wearing that camouflage helmet cover of that type, which will be one of our distinctive features. But by and large, the green uniform was found to be the most effective for combat operations throughout World War II and in Korea. And again, we talk about the technology. The weapons that were in the hands of the individual Marines were really World War I generation. So the Marines going ashore at Guadalcanal had .03 Springfields until they got into contact with some of the Army units that were fed into that land campaign. And they came to grips and they met for the first time a rifle that had been adopted by the United States Army in 1936, known as the U.S. Rifle Caliber 30 M1, or known as the M1 Garand. The M1 Garand is a semi-automatic weapon firing that same 30-06 cartridge of the .03 Springfield, but it fits 8 rounds in an en-bloc clip. The idea behind this weapon, when you fire a round, the gas from that expended round will then semi-automatically feed the next round and eject the brass from that previous round. So Mr. Fraser right now is going to demonstrate the M1 Garand. Okay, what's a very obvious design flaw? Probably one of the few things you notice about firing the Garand. What was it? Yeah, sound it out.
Clip.
Yeah, the clip, right. So remember that when we get to Vietnam, you're going to see a very similar weapon, a weapon that looks and operates very similar to the Garand, but with a change. That was perhaps one of the shortcomings of the Garand, but the greater firepower that it offered the Marine Corps was something that you know, once the Marines got beyond their passion for the .03 Springfield, they found that it was a pretty doggone good weapon, and it would be the standard equipment up through the Korean War. But you didn't need to have every officer and every crew serve weapons operator didn't need an 8-pound rifle firing a 30-06 cartridge. So the idea was, hey, can we give those who are encumbered with loads some kind of a smaller rifle with rifle-like characteristics, firing perhaps a less hot round? And this is where they came up with, the Army came up with the U.S. Carbine Caliber 30 M1, or M1 Carbine, which fired the 30 caliber carbine round. And Mr. Fraser will demonstrate that here for us. All right, so while your radio operators and your gunners might be equipped with an M1 carbine, you still wanted to give some firepower to that squad leader. And still, you know, the best-in-class submachine gun for that would be the Thompson submachine gun. Now, this is a simplified version of the Thompson, which originally came out in 1928. It also fired that 45 caliber bullet, so very good for close-in suppression of enemy targets. Excellent. All right. So you talk about Marine Corps organization very quickly. You know, where did the 13-man rifle squad come from? Well, going into the war, we had a 9-man squad that was really a carryover from World War I in the interwar period. Again, we need more firepower in with those squads going forward into assaulting Japanese positions. So the idea was to come up with the fire team as the basic component of a Marine Corps maneuver unit, consisting of a fire team leader, an automatic rifleman, an assistant automatic rifleman, and a rifleman. And that one automatic rifle would be this weapon in front of you, the Model 1918 BAR. Again, a weapon that was really designed at the end of the First World War. But now with the Marine Corps structure in about 1944, the idea for that 13-man rifle squad was that there were 3 BARs in that organization, giving greater firepower, greater lethality to those individual squads. Okay. And so what you're going to see now when you move on to Vietnam in the next stage is the next generation of that technology coming out of World War II and Korea.